everyone. So it was good to have FPL back at the weekend after the international break, and there were plenty of goals to get stuck into. It was a high scoring week generally from an FPL perspective, so I only managed a very small green arrow despite a score of 71. In terms of my players, Salah again showed that he's a safe pair of hands for captaincy. Cancelo and Trent bringing in the big numbers. Jimenez is back to his old self, so never hauling, but bringing in a nice steady stream of points, which is why I love him. And there was even a surprise return from Tony, which was nice. One thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is FPL managers' perceptions about their own overall rank at this stage of the season. So this all came from a comment that I saw on Twitter in the FPL community, which got quite a lot of negative attention, most of it a bit harsh to be fair. But basically this FPL account said something along the lines of, if you're ranked at 500k at this stage of the season, then you might as well start doing reckless things. The inference being that it's now too late to catch up by playing sensibly or having a template team. So there's two things I want to cover here. First, I ran the calcs and worked out that there's currently 95 points between the top 500k and the top 10k. So that means you need to make a gain of about 3.5 points per week on the safety score between now and the end of the season in order to finish in the top 10k. Now, that is by no means unattainable. And if you don't believe me, just remember that in game week 9, I was ranked at 584k. And in game week 11, I was 174k. Now, I didn't do that by being reckless. I didn't use any hits. I didn't play any chips. I don't have a team full of differentials. I was just patient and my fortunes improved dramatically. I mean, my team is about 85% template in those weeks, and yet I jumped 400k in 2 game weeks. So that brings me on to the second point I want to talk about, which is the word template. Having a template team, it's not a dirty word. I'm not saying it's something that we should aspire to, but it's not as bad a thing as it's often portrayed to be. So don't fall into the trap of ignoring your instinctive transfers just because you found out that they're highly owned. Conversely, don't ignore them because they're differentials either. Bring in the players that you think will score the most points. End of. The other thing I want to talk about is making early transfers. I find it unbelievable that so many experienced FPL managers still make early transfers when their players are playing in the Champions League midweek. Nearly 70,000 managers brought in Chilwell ahead of Chelsea's clash with Juventus, and many of them did so for a point hit. And now if his injury is bad, which it looks like it could be, they're going to be looking at taking another point hit just to undo the first point hit. I see the price changes happening on a Monday evening, and it's so frustrating because I know that they're going to affect me, and I just don't understand why people still do it. If everyone just waited until the end of the week, we wouldn't have this big rush of panic buying while the players are still exposed to injury from the midweek games. Anyway, that brings me on to my transfer target for this week. So after picking up more assists and more clean sheets, this time against one of the better sides in the Premier League, I decided categorically it's time to bring in either James or Chilwell. Initially, I was leaning more towards James because I owned him last season and I know what he's capable of. But having seen Match of the Day and seeing that Chilwell nearly scored 2 goals on top of his clean sheet and assist, I started leaning more towards him. Obviously, his injury against Juve has made my decision much more simple. So it'll be Diaz who goes the other way. So, not only has he got a low ceiling anyway, but he's now clearly a rotation risk. So he's just too expensive to have in a team, despite Man City's nice fixtures coming up. So he'll be making way for Reece James. In terms of captaincy, I'm probably going to go with Salah again. Southampton have been looking decent defensively of late, but my only other options really are Son, who still has to prove himself in my eyes. Jimenez, who I think will return, but I don't think he'll haul, or Cancelo, who faces a West Ham team who are pretty resilient. So I think for me, Salah again is a sensible option, so not going to overthink it. Okay, good luck and have fun.